ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा. So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. So yesterday we discussed first chapter and verse number 14. ततः श्वेतैर् हयैर्युक्ते महति सयन्दने स्थितौ माधवा पाण्डवाश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदद्मतुः. So when Bhishma Pitamaha, he blew his conch shell, and after him all the warriors and soldiers of his side, they blew their conch shells and they resounded their instruments. So in this way, they declared that we are ready for the war. So in response to the Kauravas side, on the side of Pandavas, first of all, Lord Madhav, Lord Krishna, and Arjuna, both of them who were situated on the great chariot drawn by four white horses, which was actually gifted by fire god. So they immediately they blew their conch shell, and the sound vibration coming out of the conch shell of Krishna and Arjuna is of transcendental nature, divya. It's not material. In the verse number 12, when Bhishma he blew his conch shell, so although it is greatly powerful, Simhanadam Vinadochai Sankham Dadamau Pratapavan. Bhishma is the Pratapavan, the valiant, very powerful warrior, and his blowing of conch shell is Simhanadam, like the roaring of a lion. So powerfully he blew his conch shell, indicating uh, that he is fully prepared for this battle, and he is going to fight with full vigor, full confidence. So, but still, that sound vibration blown by Bhishma. Bhishma was such a great personality, Pratapvan, very great, greatly powerful Kshatriya. He was so much powerful that he even defeated Parshuram, Lord Parshuram, an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Just imagine who can defeat the incarnation of Godhead. But Bhishma was so powerful that he defeated the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Parshuram also he defeated. And Bhishma was very religious also. He was a sense control personality. He controlled his mind and senses fully. He remained a Naistik brahmachari throughout his life, almost 350 years. His age was almost 350 years at the time of battlefield. So for the entirety of his life, he remained a Naistik brahmachari, such a sense control. While living in royal palace, he could maintain such celibacy, and he's such a great powerful. But still, when he blew his conch shell, the quality of his blowing of conch shell, the sound emanating from his conch is not transcendental. It is material. Still, it is material. Why? Because he is going against the Supreme Lord. He's not Krishna is not with him. That's why this is the reason. So this proves that in this material existence, material world, however great one may be in terms of money, wealth, opulences, or in terms of moral principles, moral values, in terms of good thing, good moral values, or however great sense control a person might be having in this material world, So much so that like Bhishma Pitama is still, if he is not a surrendered devotee of the Supreme Lord, if Krishna is not on his side, still everything is of no value. Everything becomes material. Like the blowing of conch shell of Bhishma is still material, although it is very powerful, but still it is material. So material indicates that it is going to get destroyed. Anything which is material, whatever is there in this material world, whatever is material, that is going to get destroyed over the period of time. That is temporary and that deteriorates, that gives frustration, and it is not everlasting. And anything which is spiritual in nature, that is permanent, eternal, and life giving and joy giving. That is the nature of transcendence, spiritual things. So this is the lesson we learn from the example of Bhishma blowing his conch shell, which is although very powerful, but still it is material, sound vibration. So it is going to get diminished over the period of time. And as we know already, this is predicted that although very powerful, Bhishma is very powerful, but the blowing of his conch shell being material shows that he is going to get defeated in this battlefield. And in this verse number 14, which we discussed yesterday, so although Arjuna is very less powerful as compared to Bhishma. Although Arjuna was also a great warrior, no doubt about it. But as compared to Bhishma, Arjuna was nothing. But it's still simply because he was by the side of Madhava, Supreme Lord Krishna. So Krishna is with Arjuna. That's why, because Krishna or anything related to Krishna is transcendental. Krishna is fully transcendental personality, spiritual personality. So no material ability can affect Krishna. Krishna does not undergo material changes. Like everything in this material world has date of birth, date of death, date of creation, date of destruction. Everything undergoes this material deterioration principle of getting deteriorated over the period of time. But Krishna does not get deteriorated. Krishna does not become old. Krishna never dies. And Krishna never becomes thirsty, hungry. Krishna never laments. These are few qualities of the Supreme Lord. And in this material world, everyone undergoes these kinds of changes. These are known as six waves of material existence. To get lamented, to feel hungry, thirsty, to become old, to die, and this to get diseased. So these are the six waves of material existence. But Krishna is unaffected by these waves of material existence, and because he is transcendental, spiritual, and similarly Arjuna also, or uh, and for that matter, not only Arjuna, anyone who comes by the side of the Supreme Lord, or anyone who invites Krishna uh, with him, and Krishna lives with him, and he invites Krishna, Supreme Lord, within his heart, that person also becomes transcendental. That's why Divya. This word Divya indicates this is Dvivachan, and it's two. It denotes two. In English, there is singular number and plural number. But in Sanskrit, there are three things: singular number and double, and Dvivachan, and then Bahuvachan, plural. So Divya, oh, when this suffix is there, oh, that denotes to two, anything two. So Divya means both Madhava and Pandava, Madhav and Arjuna. Both of them are they are Divya, transcendental, and their blowing of conch shell, Divya Sankha, their Sankha is also transcendental. So this is the lesson we learn. So if you want to overcome the these laws or rules which affect us in this material world, if you want to overcome material nature, uh, modes of material nature, then we need to become transcendental. And how one becomes transcendental? That Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita itself in 14 chapter. Krishna says, Mam Sha Yo Ab Avyabhi Avyabhisharena Bhakti Yoge Na Sasevate Mam Chayo Abhyavichareణ Bhakti Yoge Na Sevate Sagunan Samittaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Unfailing in all circumstances. Abhyavicharina bhakti yogena. So he transcends the modes of material nature, all the gunas, three gunas. And this is the way how one can become transcendental. And as soon as one becomes transcendental, divya, divine, then automatically he can overcome all the bad effects, ill effects of material world. He can become free from this. Now today we are discussing verse number 15. पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो देवदत्तं धनञ्जय पौण्ड्रं ददमो महासङ्घं भीमकर्मावृकोदर. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his the Devadatta, and Bhima, the ferocious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. Poundra. So the name of the conch shell have been mentioned in this verse. So Rishikesh is Lord Krishna. Rishikesh, Krishna, the Lord who directs the senses of the devotees. Rishikesh means Rishik plus Ish. Rishik. Rishik means senses. Senses are known as Rishik. And Ish means controller or owner, director, proprietor, whatever you can say. Ish. The Rishikesh means the controller or director or proprietor, master of the senses, master of senses of all the living entities, human beings, birds, beasts, reptiles, everything, all the living entities, whoever is existing in this material world or spiritual world. Everyone's senses are controlled by the Supreme Lord. He is actual the he is actually the proprietor. He is actually the master. That is why we always think that this is my hand, but this is not my hand. This is Krishna's hand. This is my eyes. This is my ears. We say, but actually this is Krishna's ears, eyes, and hands. Just like a driver. The master gives the vehicle, a car to the driver. But driver, after using the car for some time, he becomes attached to the car. And sometimes he start thinking that my car, but actually car belongs to master. And it should be used for the purpose of master or as per the direction of the master. Master is the actual director. He is proprietor. Driver is an appointed servant to drive the car. So if he forgets his position, of being the servant or driver of the car, then he will end up into trouble. Similarly, those living entities who are in true knowledge, true knowledge that we are not the proprietor or master of our senses, these senses. The master, actual master or proprietor is the Supreme Lord Krishna. So it should be used according to wish of the Supreme Lord, according to the desire of the Supreme Lord. So those living entities are fortunate and they are living in a spiritual world. And they are in great number, almost more than 75% living entities. They are in perfect knowledge. They know very well that these senses are not our senses. These senses belong to the Supreme Lord. He is actual master. So these senses should be used in his service. These senses should not be used for our service. But those unfortunate living entities who consider themselves to be the master of their senses, they are known as unfortunate living entities or Baddha Jivatma, conditioned soul. And because of doing this, because of this ignorance, this misunderstanding, uh, this mistake of considering ourselves to be the enjoyer or master, we are put into this material world in the jail for our rectification. And that's why, as long as the living entity, a person, thinks himself to be the master of the senses, till that time he has to suffer in this material world. Actually, even in this conditioned state, although we deny to accept that these senses belong to the Supreme Lord, these senses, actual master is Supreme Lord Krishna is actual master of our senses. Although we deny, a conditioned soul deny this fact, this very fact, but still, although he thinks that I am the master of my senses, but still he remains the servant of his senses. Every one of us, we know that actually we are not master, we are not Goswami. Those who are master of their senses, they are known as Swami or Goswami. They can fully control the senses and mind and senses and engage in the service of Krishna. But those who think that we are proprietor of our senses, we are
He,
master of our senses, in this way, with this misconception, those who use this one's senses for the purpose of sense gratification, so they'll end up into trouble. They become actually servant of the senses, not even servant. Yeah, the person who thinks himself to be the master of the senses, he actually becomes the slave of his senses. Slave, there is difference between servant and slave. Slave means no control over his own existence, no control at all. The master can do whatever he wants with the slave. So that is what is happening in this material world with those persons who think that these senses belong to us. Every moment they are harassed by their mind and senses because of this mistake of considering our senses to be our own senses and forgetting that the real master is the Supreme Lord Krishna, and our senses belong to him and it should be employed for his service. So a person who thinks like this, he is actually living in great illusion, and he actually suffers in this material existence. But those who are devotees, they are fortunate, they are in perfect knowledge, so they very well understand that Krishna is actually Rishikesh, master of the senses. So all the senses should be engaged in his service. Uh, so that's why Rishikesh name has been used in this verse, Panchajanyam Rishikeshu. So this verse, Sanjay is speaking this verse, and there is purpose behind this. Sanjay, why Sanjay is using the name Rishikesh? Just see in the previous verse, 14 verse number 14, and the first time the name of Krishna has been used. And the first name of Krishna which has come in the Bhagavad Gita in this verse number 14 is Madhav. Madhav means Lakshmipati, the husband of the goddess of fortune. So by addressing Krishna with the name Madhav, Sanjaya is indicating to Dhritarashtra that Lakshmipati is present on the side of Pandavas. So definitely the victory is for the Pandavas. The victory is waiting for the Pandavas. This is one indication. And another indication in this section, verse number 15, Rishikesh. So Sanjaya is indicating two things he is indicating. First, he is indicating that Krishna is Rishikesh. He is the master of the senses, or he is director of the senses. And Arjuna, because he has surrendered himself to Krishna, he has become friend of the Supreme Lord. So, being pleased with Arjuna's surrender, Krishna is now going to direct his senses. So in this battlefield, actually, Arjuna is not going to fight. Arjuna is not fighting. Rishikesh is fighting. Krishna is fighting through the senses of Arjuna. Although Krishna told that I'm not going to fight in this battlefield, but by addressing Krishna as Rishikesh, Sanjaya is indicating to Dhritarashtra that, my dear sir, don't think that Krishna is not fighting. Krishna is fighting because he is Rishikesh. He's master of senses of his devotees. So through his devotees' senses, Krishna is going to fight, and that means your sons are going to die in this battlefield. Because your sons, they have the mentality that their senses belong to themselves. They don't think that these senses actual proprietor or controller or master is Krishna. But Arjuna, Pandavas being the devotees of the Supreme Lord, they very well accept this fact that Krishna is actually the master of our senses. So let us use our senses in the service of the Supreme Lord, or let it be used by the desire or wishes or direction or under the controllership of the Supreme Lord. That's why they are going to become victorious. Uh, so this is one thing Sanjay is indicating. Uh, Another thing is indicating Rishikesh. Krishna is the master of the senses. So actually, everything should happen by the desire of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So this mistake had been done by Dhritarashtra. When Krishna came as Santidut, she wanted that why should be their battle. Krishna proposed, gave the proposal. So, being Rishikesh, he had the right to propose something, and And because your senses belong to Krishna, so you should have accepted. But because your senses and mind were not under your control, so instead of accepting the desires of Krishna, you choose to accept the desire of your rascal son Duryodhana, and because of this reason, you are going to lose all your sons. This is another thing Krishna is indicating, Sanjay is indicating. The Panchajanyam. So this council named Panchajanya, it has got history in the purport Srila Prabhupada is writing. So we'll read that. But before that, let us complete this verse. Panchajanyam Rishikeshu. So Rishikeshu, Krishna blew his conch shell Panchajanya, and Devadattam Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya, another name of Arjuna is Dhananjaya. Uh, Arjuna, the winner of wealth. Because when Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was performing Rajsuya Yajna. So in order to perform the great Rajsuya Yajna, Yudhishthira Maharaj required a great amount of wealth. And Arjuna, he actually brought a lot of wealth for the purpose of executing Rajsuya sacrifice. That's why he is known as Dhananjaya, who acquired a lot of wealth so that Yudhishthira Maharaj can successfully perform his yagya, Rasu yagya, and which was actually performed by Yudhishthira Maharaj in order to establish Krishna's supremacy. That's why he performed. Similarly, here also another yagya is being performed by Yudhishthira Maharaj. What is that? This Mahabharata Yuddha Yagya. This is also Yagya. Yagya means anything which is done for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So Yudhishthira Maharaj personally, he was not interested at all to fight. He was prepared to give entire kingdom to Kauravas without anything in return. That was the greatness of Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj. Uh, but because Krishna requested, Krishna wanted, Krishna desired, so that's why Yudhishthira Maharaj agreed to fight. So he agreed. That's why for Yudhishthira Maharaj, this Yuddha, Mahabharata Yuddha, is actually Yagya. So in this Yagya also, Arjuna is required to help his elder brother, just like he had helped in Rasu Yagya, and he helped Yudhishthira Maharaj so that Yudhishthira Maharaj could complete Rasu Yagya very successfully and establish the supremacy of Krishna and please the Supreme Lord Krishna. Similarly, in the same manner, Arjuna, who is very powerful, Dhananjaya, he could help Yudhishthira Maharaj nicely in that yagya. So in this yagya also, Arjuna is going to give his full effort and he is going to make this battle uh, victorious for the purpose of pleasing Yudhishthira Maharaj and Lord Krishna. That's why Dhananjaya. And his the conch shell which is being blown by Arjuna is named Devadattam. The name of conch shell is Devadattam. Next, Poundram Dadamo Mahasankh. Poundra, Poundra is the name of the conch blown by Bhima. Bhima Karma Vrikodara. Mahasankham. Just like Bhima is very great personality, very powerful, heroic. He had the power of 10,000 elephants. So similarly, his Sankha is also very great. Mahasankham. Mahasankham indicate the terrific conch shell. Srila Prabhupada writes the terrific conch shell. Simply by seeing a person will become bewildered what kind of Sankha is there. And if Bhima blew, whenever Bhima used to blow this conch shell, everyone used to become very terrified. That's why Mahasankham. Like Bhima, his Sankha is also the great Sankha. And the quality of Bhima Karma, Vrikodara. Actually, the name Vrikodara, this is the name of Bhima. And Bhima Karma refers to he used to perform Herculean task. So, the Vrikodara. Vrikodara means the ferocious eater. Bhima could eat a lot. When Kunti Maharani used to cook, so 50% of the eatables were meant for Bhima, reserved for Bhima. And in the rest of the 50%, the four Pandavas, Kunti Maharani and Draupadi, six people they used to eat. And half of the portion was taken by Bhima. So he was such a ferocious eater. But he was not just a ferocious eater. He was also at the same time Bhima Karma, the performer of Herculean task. So we are allowed to eat a lot, That is allowed. But at the same time, we should be ready to do Bhima karma. It's not that, oh Prabhu ji, ज्यादा सेवा हो गया आज तो थक गया. नो नो, आज बहुत लेट हो जाएगा. आज तो नहीं. ना, बॉडी पेन हो रहा है प्रभु जी. नो, भीम कर्मा means one should be ready to serve Krishna with full efforts, full vigor. Okay, if Krishna service is required for 6 hours, I'm ready to do. 8 hours, okay, I'm ready. 10 hours, ready. 15 hours, ready. That is Herculean task. Uh, then you can Vrikodara. You can be ferocious eater. No problem with that. So Bhima was actually like that. Bhima used to eat a lot, but he used to perform such kinds of Herculean tasks which no ordinary human being even can imagine. When they were in Agyatwas, so they were living in the house of a Brahmin. So in the village, this rule was made. There was one great Rakshasa. He used to come inside the village and he used to just take anybody for his breakfast. So all the means people of the village, they had the meeting with Rakshasa. It's interesting, no? That they had the meeting with Rakshasa and they came up with one solution. But nowadays it's very difficult. Even among devotees, it's very difficult to come to a compromise, to come to single solution in meetings. But earlier, even demons, Rakshasas, they used to have meeting and they used to agree with some common proposal. uh. So all the villagers, they had the meeting with this Rakshasa and they decided, they proposed that you don't take anybody anytime and anywhere, everywhere. We will give you whatever you require to it, we will give you. Not only we will give you a human being, we'll give you two bulls with a chariot, with a bullock cart filled up with all kinds of eatables, vegetables, fruits, grains, food grains, everything. So we'll give full bullock cart filled with all kinds of eatables, plus two bulls also you can eat, and plus one person will also come to you every day in the evening. So that is what we promise we'll give. You don't come inside the village and disturb anyone. Please. So in this way, that Rakshasa, he agreed with this proposal. Okay, that's very nice. Without working, I'm getting my salary. Okay, done. So he decided, and each day from one house, they were supposed to arrange all these tables to that Rakshasa. So during Agyatwas, Pandavas, they were residing in one Brahmana's house. So one day, their turn came to arrange for the tables of that Rakshasa. So the honor that husband wife, Brahman and Brahmin, they were fighting with each other. Okay, so they arranged two bulls and tables, everything, bull with bullock cart, and they were fighting that no, no, I am going. I will go. I will go. The husband was saying, I will go. The wife was saying, no, 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 you don't go. I will go. So in this way, they were fighting. So Kunti Maharani, she heard that they are fighting, that I will go, I will go. So she inquired, so why are you fighting? You are Brahmanas. So they said, in our village, outskirts of the village, there is one Rakshasa, and such and such thing is decided that each day, one family member, they will send two bulls and a bullock cart filled with all kinds of vegetables, and one human being will go for to become his breakfast. So now our turn has come. So we are deciding who will go. So Kunti Maharani said, no, no, both of you will not go because we are guests in your family. So in our bad situation, you gave us a shelter, you protected us. So that's why it is our responsibility to give protection to you, to help you in this situation. So you don't worry. So I will send one of my son. So who will go? So Kunti Maharani called Bhima, come on. So she called Bhima and Bhima went very happily. So Bhima was going on the bullock cart, sitting on the bullock cart. Bhima was going, and on the way he finished all the eatables. He ate all the fruits, vegetables, grains, everything he ate. And as soon as he reached the Rakshasa, he saw that one big person has come, very heavy. So he became happy. wow, today's breakfast is very taja, fresh breakfast and very heavy. So it's very nice. But when he saw that bullock cart is empty, so he inquired, why you did not bring my eatables, food grains and vegetables, all these things? Bhima said, I was feeling hungry, so I ate it. What is the problem? So he became very angry. And Bhima said, if you want to eat me, you fight with me. Then you can eat me also, and these two bulls also are available. So then they had the fight, and that Rakshasa was a very powerful Rakshasa. He was not an ordinary Rakshasa. You can just imagine every day he was eating two bulls and eatables filled with bullock cart and one human being. So he was a great Rakshasa. So and then finally they had a good fight, and Bhima finally he defeated that Rakshasa and killed that Rakshasa, and he came back with the bull, and Bhima alone he came back. So, but it was a great risk actually. So in this way, Bhima, she used to eat a lot, but he used to perform such a Herculean task also. And there are many such instances. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all the 100 Kauravas were killed by Bhima only. Because he took this promise, wow, that I will kill all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. So that's why Arjuna did not kill, because he knew Bhima has taken the promise. And at last, when he killed Duryodhana, it was great with great difficulty. The fight went on for many days, but finally, Krishna, with the idea given by Krishna, Bhima killed this bifurcated Duryodhana. And he killed Duryodhana. So that's why Bhima Karma Vrikodara. So in this verse we discussed today. So the names of the conch shell used by these Rishikesh, Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima has been mentioned in this verse. Tomorrow also we'll discuss some few lessons from this verse. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Hare. If there are any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna.
I had only this question. Arjuna being a major archer, how could is it possible that instead of Arjuna, Bhima killed everyone?
Because that fight was supposed to happen, this one-to-one combat. So Bhima was
प्रभु
the
जी आर्चर
appropriate
का काम
personality.
मेजरली यही होता है ना, जैसे स्नाइपर राइफल होता है या मशीन गन से आज के वॉर में मारते हैं सामने ये दुश्मनों को, तब
हाँ,
आर्चर भी वो जमाने में तो मेन होते हैं।
हाँ, तो आर्चर जो होते थे वो अपने ही जैसे सोल्जर से या फाइटर से लड़ाई करते थे। ऐसा
अच्छा
नहीं है
ओके।
कि जो धनुष बाण चलाने वाला है वो जाकर किसी पिद्दे को अटैक कर देगा।
वो
सोल्जर्स
किसी
फुट कोई जो सोल्जर होते हैं ना,
अ,
उन वो सोल्जर सोल्जर से लड़ते थे, और जो महारथी महारथी से लड़ते थे। ये ये
अच्छा
रूल्स होते थे
ओके।
युद्ध के।
पर प्रभु जी तब अर्जुन ने कौन से ऐसे कौरवों को मारा जो आर्चर थे, या और कोई?
मुझे इतना याद नहीं, डिटेल नहीं मालूम। तो आपको महाभारत पढ़ना पड़ेगा, आपको पता चल जाएगा अर्जुन ने किनको किनको मारा।
ओके प्रभु जी।
लेकिन कौरवास में भीम ने मारा सारे कौरवास, क्योंकि भीम ने प्रतिज्ञा लिया था।
राइट।
और द्रौपदी का जब चीरहरण हो रहा था उस टाइम पे।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी,
ओके, हरे
धन्यवाद।
कृष्णा।